When you're a little horny little fuck and your mind is full of junk and fetishes, you just see an oval shaped prune and you get horny. And if you touch it, you'd come. Because you're a horny little fuck that over masturbates with a twisted mind. When your sexuality or your sexual power in your mind when your sexual power grows and matures and your mind gets like tamed and relaxed, the shape of a prune doesn't turn you on. It may be a plumpy prune. You can say, oh, that's a plumpy prune. I wonder what it tastes. You could ask yourself that, but you don't get a boner because you see something around. Okay, because it's nothing. It's just youth. When you start to discover sexuality a little deeper, you start to understand, well, what is bringing me pleasure? Now, your average person's sexuality, what turns them on is shape, forms, their fantasies, what they project on the other girl, what the girl projects on them. You're aroused by these things. Maybe some of you are aroused by a nice, firm, tight vagina because you like the friction that it generates on your cock. I respect that. I nothing against that. But once you get past all of that, then what? So most of you don't ever pass this. That's the end all and be all for you. When you go deeper in sexual relations and sexual intimacy, if we can call it like this, you realize that what brings genuine bliss is when the woman relaxes and is able to relax in your presence and allow her sexual energy, her Shakti power to circulate freely within her body. That now, when you're also relaxed, creates it creates something that is divine. A young woman doesn't know how to relax. She has to learn how to relax. She has to learn how to relax her body, her mind, and all of this stuff. A woman who has more experience and who's been learning the art of womanness, if we can call it like this, well, when she gets 40, she's 40 years old of experience on learning how to relax and let her sexual power circulate. So the amount of bliss that she can give you, well, technically, she wouldn't want to hang out with a 20-year-old or a 25-year-old, unlike Madonna, because Madonna wants to eat. We've covered that. Shout out to you, Madonna. I respect what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. But a real 40-year-old woman who has actual connection to her sexual power wouldn't necessarily be interested in a little boy, a 20-year-old, 25-year-old, and he's a very special kid, because he wouldn't be able, she would short circuit him. She wouldn't be able to relax fully with him because she would snap. So what would be her interest in a little kid? So here's what I'm trying to say, because I'm saying a lot of things at the same time. Sexual skill, in the real sense of the word, comes from the capacity to relax, it's relaxation, and the capacity to allow sexual energy, which is your primordial energy, circulate in your body, and to do this with a partner. A younger woman with very little experience doesn't know how to ride a bike. An older woman or a more mature, seasoned woman knows how to ride a bike better. So in the artificial world, you're going to say, oh, she's a cougar, she knows how to suck cock. Yeah, so she's a specialist of delivering friction. The younger girl doesn't know how to give you excellent friction, so it could be considered less interesting. A mature woman like J.Lo, for example, would be a specialist of giving you the exact level of friction you need to have the most powerful, short-lived orgasm of your life. But that's sex for you. It's friction. That's all you know. That's what you identify as sex. What I'm saying is that on the other side of the fence, is it the other side of the fence or the universe? I'm not sure. Sexuality ain't got nothing to do with friction. Sexuality is the opposite of friction, is relaxation, which means fluidity and currency. So the woman's job at that point is no longer to offer you the best friction blowjob. It's a whole other story. So her interest is relaxation and to find a suitable partner who's able to bring to her factory, remember the woman is a factory, the voltage necessary to give her a more fuller experience of herself. So what I'm really saying is, well, technically, if a woman is actually studying sexuality and evolving in her womanness, well, as she's maturing, she's actually sexually more powerful than the little girl. And technically, if you're a little boy and you want to have bliss, you'd go see the older woman because she's going to give you more bliss. but she will not be interested in the little boy unless to initiate him or teach him or do all these things, but it's only in the context of education, because he's got 20 volts. That's it. That's all he's got. She'll blow his brains out. So that would violate him. So she wouldn't want to enjoy that. And the young woman, when she sees the older woman, the more mature woman, I apologize, I don't know how to say it, but I think you understand, she would venerate her because she's a goddess. Because voltage, that means power, that means the capacity to cultivate Shakti power, means you're becoming the goddess. That's, Shakti is the goddess, or at least it's one of the words we can use to describe her. So the older woman is a greater container, receptacle of Shakti power, which means the goddess. So if I'm a young woman, which means I can also, I'm cultivating my sexual energy, aka could also be said Shakti power. This is the reservoir of Shakti power. I'm going to go, I as a young woman want to hang out with the elder woman because in her presence I get electrified. And it's teaching me and showing me subtly and silently, and it also could be taught verbally and artistically how to cultivate and grow my Shakti power and facilitate its circulation through my body and mind. So once again, the so-called older woman is the power center. She's not the old rag that's hit a wall and it's over. It's the opposite. That's what I'm trying to say. But because our society doesn't understand fuck all about fuck all, this is what we have. We have a culture of sluts trying to retain their sluttery for the rest of their lives. Because that's all they have. And you have a 47-year-old J-Lo, I don't even know how old she is. Let's say she's 47 for the sake of this video series. I will check. Maybe somebody will check for me. We have a J-Lo who's still she's like trying to seduce the young morons who say, I'm going to give you friction like you've never had before. I'm going to make you come so fast because my skill set in offering you the friction of frictions, such a precise friction, my little buddy, you will see. 52, shout out to you, J-Lo, being 52, looking like if you're 52, dressed like an 18-year-old. Anyways, the point of what I'm trying to say, I think it was clear. So I think there's a problem. I feel that it's a conversation that should be had. People don't want to have this conversation because people like bullshit talks and want to discuss if there is such a thing as a flu that invades you or not. People just want to waste time talking about bullshit. How about that? They're not interested in real things, in real conversations that require a little bit of intuitive openness, and then face the fact that you don't know the answers. And in the meantime, and this is me saying this to women, if there are women listening to me, I'm like, you're a silly person to accept the bullshit they sell you, or silly person to reject what they're selling to you and then trying to opt out of that, or trying to hide yourself in some intellectual bullshit, or try to hide in some spiritual nonsense. No, it's for you to have enough courage to say there's got to be something else. You should address the issue and see it and stop pretending that old women are not fucking ugly. They are. Your mom is ugly. Cut the crap. Okay? And maybe you're exceptional and you're the exception to the deal. You know that you don't want to look like her. End of story. And it's a known fact. Ask any man, they'll know. Once upon a time, when men used to get married, right? You say, you want to know what your wife's going to look like in a couple of years? Look at her mom. And you're like, what the fuck? And you're like, no, it's not going to happen. And there she is. She looks just like that, a new version. So you knew that she's ugly. Everybody knows that. Everybody just wants to say, don't want to say that because that's offensive. It's mean. It's probably, there's a phobia of old people, I'm sure. Some kind of like anti-old person, evil person. I'm sure there's like, you can say I'm an evil person because I dare to say that old women are ugly. I'm like, with all due respect, they are, for the most part. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it, but everybody tries to pretend that it's not the case, and nobody wants to stop and say, what the fuck is going on? And if I'm a woman, I would stop and would say, what the fuck is going on? And I'm a man, and I stopped and I said, what the fuck is going on? Because what the fuck is going on?